There's a Grand Junction, Colorado school board member named Katherine Svenson. Now this woman looks like she's about 112 years old, and it looks like she yearns for the old bigotry of the 1950s when women knew their place and they were in the kitchen and blowing their husbands, and the old Negroes and colored folk knowed their place as well, and they didn't bother the great white male who ran everything. Well, she decided to speak in one of these meetings about her fear of transgendered people. Listen to this, quote, "I would like to pass out something that shows people what is going on in the rest of the country." She started handing out these pamphlets for people to read that were part of this school board meeting. Massachusetts and California have passed laws relating to calling a student, irrespective of his biological gender, letting him perform as the gender he thinks he is or she is. I just want to emphasize, not in this district, not until the plumbing's changed, there would have to be castration in order to pass something like that around here. So she's saying, well, in all these evil liberal places, they've decided to actually treat people equally and let them feel good about themselves. We're against that. We want you to get castrated if you're transgender before you use the bathroom in public. But how can anybody, transgendered students should be castrated before they use the bathroom. Brilliant, brilliant. See, I don't know how anybody could be that hateful, and I don't know how anybody could be that, it's like they're being purposefully dense, where they say, well, I could sit down and maybe read a little bit about transgendered people and what they go through, or I could just cling to my already preconceived beliefs and my prejudices and just hate them without actually researching it and being open-minded and actually becoming enlightened on the issue. So you know what? As a result of this story, I came to this conclusion earlier. It clicked in my head like a light switch, just boom, went right on. I've now decided I think there should be unisex bathrooms everywhere, because I'm so done with dealing with the morons on the right, where whether it's Bill O'Reilly one night ranting about how, can you believe that in these liberal schools in Massachusetts, people can use whatever bathroom they want. Ugh. He's like outraged. He's more outraged about the fact that a transgendered woman who has a penis might use the girls' bathroom. He's more outraged at that than he was at the 100,000 Iraqi civilians that died in a war. Shows you where their priorities lie. Does this woman go to the school board meeting and talk about the horrible state of our education system and the underfunding? Does she talk about poverty? Does she talk about starving kids who have hunger pains so they can't function properly? Does she talk about the living conditions of the parents that might lead to the kids not being good students? Does she care about how tax dollars are allocated in a smart way? Does she care about, hey, we need to make sure we need to teach just science in the science class? Does she care about any of the things that actually matter? Does Bill O'Reilly care about any of the things that matter? No, they're heads up their ass because they're so outraged about gender issues because they have massive personal issues with things like this. And they're yearning for a time in the 1950s when everything was so cut and dry, black and white, very cookie cutter, and everybody felt like they were living in an episode of Leave It to Beaver. Well, that might have been their preference, but the thing I always try to teach conservatives, but none of them get it, is that just because you grew up in that system doesn't mean that that system is empirically better and superior to other living arrangements. So for example, if somebody gets raised with gay parents, they could have a perfectly fine upbringing. If somebody's raised with polygamist parents, they could have a perfectly fine upbringing. If somebody's raised by a single mother or a single father, assuming they have material goods and enough money, they could live just a dandy life. If somebody, you name the living arrangement, it's likely there have been both successes and failures with that living arrangement. But that's what these conservatives do. They disregard all that and they say, no, the way I did it is the only way that's right. So now I say, to avoid all of these nonsense issues, and because, we should have been at this point already anyway, I'm done with unisex, I'm done with separate gendered bathrooms. Just put them together, do unisex bathrooms. Think about it like this. So let's say, I grew up in a house with my mother, my sister, and my father, okay? Did we need unisex bathrooms? Of course not. Now, you might say, well, that's a small sample size. But I have friends that grew up with 5 brothers and sisters, and, did they need unisex bathrooms? No. But, oh, Kyle, that's family. It's not the same as with a mix of people. Really? Have you ever been in a unisex bathroom at a different place, at a public place somewhere? I'm sure you have. What was it, pandemonium? Was everybody blowing everybody in there? Is that how it goes? Were people 69ing on the changing table for the babies? What was going on? No, that doesn't happen. And people who are afraid of what would happen when they come together, they're just kind of making up and using scare tactics because they're afraid to make a change. But no, this is a change that's been a long time coming. We can squash all these issues with, oh my God, he has a penis, he doesn't have a penis, he's transgendered, he's gay, he's straight. Fuck it all, throw it all out the window, let's all go to the same bathroom, because guess what, when we're in there, we all do the same things anyway. And none of those things are pretty.